right, what's up, y'all? I'm gonna leave it right there. Okay, for now, I'll grab this. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. Today is the 23rd of February, 2026. This is In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, 1/4 of In the Image Clothing Company, where we let dogs stay natural. Dante, come. Good. Funny enough, the camera fell. But this is what we say. This is how we do it, okay? Blunt, bold, good boy, good boy. Raw and real In the Image Clothing Company. That's how we do things around here, is just as we do things, okay? So, how to use a slip lead. This video's title on In the Image Clothing Company Poodles. What is a slip lead? How to use it? What's going on? What is In the Image Clothing Company Poodles? Well, we let dogs stay natural. We give information that applies to all dogs, but we specialize in purebred standard poodles. Dante here is a standard poodle. Standard is the size, poodle is the breed, in case you don't know. There you go. So, dogs, being just these domesticated wild animals, they live in a modern man-made world, like us, human beings, placed onto God's natural earth. Things are always only natural until we make things as human beings. So, the goal is natural on all four sides of In the Image Clothing Company. Natural, neutral, and normal are synonyms within the human body's functioning and the functioning of the dogs. So, we're a clothing company because anything that clothes the bodies, for human beings, it's pants, tops, shoes, socks, undergarments, glasses, jewelry, even anything placed onto something else is clothing it. So for the dogs, collars, leashes, harnesses, slip leads, like this video's title, how to use a slip lead, bandanas, if I didn't already say that, whatever it is that you place onto a dog, it's clothing it. Like how God clothes the fields with grass, as it says in the Holy Bible, okay? In the image. We're designed in the image of God, in the image of Jesus Christ. Here's our clothing company, just to allow the body to work for the human beings on the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, or let dogs stay natural on In the Image Clothing Company Poodles here. So we'll get right into it. What is a slip lead? Well, a slip lead is essentially what it sounds like, a slip knot. It is a slip knot. But this is the thing, you're not going to be strangling your dog by putting a slip lead around their neck. You can, you could, you might, if you don't know how to use it. So, how to use a slip lead. Here's this video on In the Image Clothing Company Poodles to explain how to. The thing is, a lot of people don't know what's really going on. I filmed a video as the founder of In the Image Clothing Company about a week and a half ago, give or take. I placed it here on In the Image Clothing Company Poodles. It's titled Abusing Dogs, because a lot of people would call certain things abuse in dogs that a lot of other people wouldn't even question, and then vice versa depending on what the things are. We've got to remember that these dogs are always only ever just wild, free to do whatever they want, unless we step in as human beings and bring them into our care and domesticate these dogs. We take wild dogs, they can do whatever they just naturally do, and we put them into our households, and they can't do anything unless we tell them they can or provide it for them, okay? So, a slip lead. This is the thing, is a lot of people have such bad views towards slip leads. They think you're going to strangle your dog and you're going to kill your dog because you put a slip knot around their neck, and they think the dog will most certainly die. Well, here's some context. Dante is a rescue from the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter, and before I rescued Dante from the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter, I stopped in there and just hung out with the dogs and walked the dogs for months and months and months. Okay, many times. And what they give you to walk the dogs with is a slip lead. So, veterinarian clinics, okay, animal doctors, they use slip leads. Animal shelters like this one close by here in Utah, the South Utah Valley Animal Shelter. Okay, animal shelters very commonly will use slip leads. At dog shows, when they're showing dogs for their hair coat or just for the breed, you know, like purebred dogs that are bred properly, they show dogs and they'll use slip leads in these areas of professional work, okay? So anyone who has any negative view toward a slip lead, you can have your opinion on it, but we need context. There's always context needed in life. Like how I told you, we are blunt, bold, raw, and real in the Image Clothing Company. There's some context for why there's surrounding sounds like the airplane noise where there is, okay? So, we'll wait out the airplane noise as long as we do. There's a flight school really close by here in this town, okay? Just miles away. You're a good boy, Doug. Good. Good. You are good. Anyway, it's as loud as it is where it is. Okay, you can get the information from the videos. That's the point. As I say, it's just another date-marked documentation under In the Image Clothing Company and any of the 4 sides that it is. We do so much and always will under what I call the gift of video, because we can just permanently document things like I'm doing here. So, slip leads. You're so pretty, Dante. A slip lead is just a rope, okay? It is. But we need context on what that means, why it's being used, and how to use it. There's an episode of In the Image Clothing Company podcast, another one of our forwards where we have discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ. And the title of this episode is Context Over Content. We need context in life. We need information and understanding of what's going on before we can make our assumptions on what is going on. So, yes, we are on episode 204 of In the Image Clothing Company podcast as of today's date, the 23rd of February, 2026. If you'd like to check it out, just deep insights on life is really what we give there. You don't have to be religious or believe in anything, but we're all human beings, the same thing, placed on the same earth, designed by the same God. It only is what it is. Truth is truth, something we don't get to decide as human beings or change, okay? Another name for God is the truth, the same yesterday, today, and forever. Truth never changes. If something's true at one point, it always has and always will be. That's how it works. It's apart from all of us. So, the truth behind slip leads is what I'm discussing in this video, really, because there's a lot of benefits to slip leads, you know, and we just need to know what's going on. You can strangle your dog with anything. If you're worried about strangling your dog, choking your dog to death by putting a slip lead around their neck because it's a slip knot, you could strangle your dog with some dental floss, okay? You could strangle your dog with a collar and a leash combo, and that's very common to have, okay? Now, we've got harnesses that are good because they don't go right around the dog's neck, but harnesses can be in the way of the shoulder mobility of the dog, and there's other things that come with harnesses like the weight and potentially more locations for it to be imbalanced. So things like keeping collars centered and the importance of snug collars, these are huge focuses under both the main side of In the Image Clothing Company with allowing the body to work for us human beings, and on In the Image Clothing Company poodles when it comes to letting dogs stay natural. Dogs would never have anything placed onto them until human beings do it. To begin with, okay, there's your focus to begin with. If you're worried about strangling your dog, well, maybe don't put anything on your dog at all, because that's already something that wouldn't be there unless we did it as human beings. But slip leads are great. I was filming a video a few days ago here in this location, is what I mean by here, just right over there, just a little ways that direction where I'm pointing. Okay, anyway, under the main side of In the Image Clothing Company, a dog came into the frame, and as I saw the dog coming, I had Dante's slip lead here ready for him to be able to put onto him, and I put it on him, and then I had Dante restrained as this other dog that was off its lead or leash came right up to Dante and started sniffing him, and there was no owner around. So I took a snippet from that video and I titled it the quickness of slip leads is what I titled it. And that's the beautiful thing about slip leads, is this quickly, from Dante not having anything on him that I can use to restrain him, like a leash or a rope of any kind, like a slip lead, I can take this and go like this, and that quickly Dante's restrained, okay? If there's an aggressive dog coming, or if Dante needs to be just, you know, restrained for any reason. I mean, anything that could possibly come up that is cause for restraint of your dog. You know, even though you can clip a leash to a collar relatively quickly, you have to find a little clip on the collar and get your clip on your leash opened up and clip it to the collar, and that just takes more time, and it's not as efficient and quick as a slip lead. The surrounding sounds, I get it. That's a big truck. So just to be very clear, under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, when it comes to us letting dogs stay natural, we advocate for the benefits of slip leads because it's more natural than having a collar just about always on your dog, even when you don't have a leash connected to it, just so that you can then connect a leash to the collar. Well, maybe you have an imbalanced or a heavy collar on your dog, you know, a really loose collar on your dog that's just deactivating their musculature as they're trying to hold it in place, and all of these things that could come from collars. When we talk about collars under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, well, we also put a lot of importance on collars for human beings on In the Image Clothing Company's main side, just in the collars of our tops, you know, keeping them centered like I was saying. But we have this slip lead here, and it is just a rope. This one here is actually handmade. I made this for Dante. It's just a 3-strand braid rope. But when you're using a slip lead, there is a proper side to put it on depending on which side your dog is walking. Okay, which side of you your dog is on. All right, Dante. Oh, it's a long time for a squat, really. So when you have a slip lead, what you'll have is just the rope and then a loop that you can loop the rope through, and now it'll just stay around the neck of the dog. But what you'll have is you'll have a side that's just a single rope, right? Just that's connected to your hand. But then you'll have the other side that's a loop of some kind. Sometimes slip leads will have a little metal loop or whatever material it is, or sometimes it'll just be a loop like this. And so one side of the dog is going to have just a single rope on it, and the other side of the dog is going to have a loop on it. You want the loop on the side of the dog that's closest to you. So when you put the slip lead around the dog's neck, you want the rope that's just the single part to be on the other side of where you are. And you want the loop to be coming from around the dog's neck up on the same side that you're on. Because that way when you pull, it actually pulls the dog to you. Okay, so watch this. As we walk a little bit, on my left side, this looped part of the slip lead is actually on Dante's right side. So it's between Dante and I. Okay, watch this. Dante, come. Hey. Over here, boy. Come. I know. So, let me show you this. If I'm right here, as I pull up on the slip lead, Dante, turn. Turn, boy. Turn. Turn this other direction. Turn, boy. Turn, Doug. Turn. Turn, Doug. Dante, turn, Doug. Golly, dude. All right. As I stand here, he just doesn't know where to look. He's looking right at me. He doesn't understand the camera, which is understandable. But as you pull up on the slip lead, or as the dog pulls with tension on the slip lead, this will cause the dog to be pulled slightly toward you. If the side with the loop is between you and the dog, and then the side away from you on the other side of the dog has just a single rope on it, okay? So as I walk, this will cause Dante to want to be on my left side, and it'll sort of pull him in right to my left side a little bit. So we're gonna walk away from the camera with him on my left side and turn around and walk back, and you can see Dante's good. He puts very little tension normally on the lead when we walk. He's just such a good dog. But this actually really helps if you have a dog that's trying to run off and get away from you, and you're trying to teach the dog to stay by your side. A slip lead will actually pull toward one side, and you can flip it around depending on which side of you the dog's on, and it'll actually help you train your dog to stay by your side more than it would to use a collar and a leash combo if it's not going to be doing this slight little tug to one side that just happens with a slip lead because you've just got a loop on one side. That loop just pulls toward you. Okay, so we'll walk away from the camera with him on my left side, with the loop of the slip lead on his right side, which is between us, and then we'll walk back so you can see, okay? All right, Dante, here, you come. Good. 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 All right, so now, if we take the slip lead and we just flip it around, just have it be the exact same thing. It's another loud truck. Good boy, Dante. Good. 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 All right, so we take the slip lead and we flip it around. So now the loop's gonna be on Dante's left side. And then I stand with Dante on my right side. Oh, sorry, bro. Now we've got that loop still between us. The loop side is between Dante and I, and the other side is the side that's just the one strand of the slip lead going straight down and then around the dog's neck. At this point, now we're just on the opposite side, and then when tension gets pulled up on the slip lead, let me just make sure it's sitting nicely so it's nice and even for his sake. When tension gets pulled up, like if you pull just straight up, it'll slightly pull toward you. That's just how it works because the side that's looped is between you and the dog, and it just pulls toward you. It just reinforces your dog staying by your side. So now, with the slip lead flipped around, I'll walk away from the camera with Dante on my right side, and then we'll walk back to the camera with Dante on my right side, with the loop side of the slip lead that's around the dog's neck between him and I, so it's actually on his left side, and you can see it just reinforces him staying right next to you on the side that you're walking him on. So here we go. All right, Dante, come. Okay, Dante, come. Here. Good. Good. Dante, wait. So this is the other thing with a slip lead is, well, I said it a minute ago, but let me demonstrate it a little bit. Because if we're somewhere where there's not so much surrounding sound, that's the ideal, okay, for videos like this, but if we're somewhere where it's safe for Dante to be off lead, like here, right? He doesn't need to be on a lead of some kind or a leash of some kind, but then all of a sudden there's somebody that comes around the corner with a dog, or there's just something we need to restrain Dante from getting to, or you know, restrain him so we can control him to the best of what we can, so nothing gets to him on that end. Whatever it is, you go from being off his lead entirely to throwing this around his neck so quickly, and in an emergency situation, it's just so much quicker than a collar and a leash combo where you have to try to get to the dog's collar, find a little loop, and clip your leash to it. I mean, however your leash could connect to your collar, it's just not quite as quick, at least in just about every single case, as just throwing a slip lead around the neck of your dog and then they're restrained. So if we're just walking off lead like this, Dante, up. Yeah, good. Dante, come. And we're just walking and it's safe and it's fine and there's nothing going on that's of concern. I can just say, Dante, wait. And if he listens, great. If not, and I just need to still wrangle him quickly, it's this quick. And you're good. And now you have full restraint of your dog. You want to be careful with their ears. If your dog has long ears, keep their ears out of the slip lead, and you want it on there nice and even. But in an emergency situation, a slip lead is probably going to be the fastest way you could restrain your dog if you need to quickly. So anyway, there's how to use a slip lead from In the Image Clothing Company Poodles. Good boy. There's your information on how to use a slip lead. Relatively quick video compared to a lot of ours at this time period under In the Image Clothing Company, because it only needs to be what it needs to be to show the context on a few things. Because first off, slip leads aren't going to damage your dog. Sure, you know, your dog's got a slip lead on and they fall off a ledge and the slip lead gets caught on something, you could choke your dog to death. Definitely. You could do that though with a collar and a leash combo as well, just about as easily. The thing with slip leads is they don't get all that tight. Not really, because when they're pulling, the direction of the pull is actually like away from the dog's neck. As this loop is tightening in, the rope that it's tightening in around is actually pulling up and away from the dog's neck. It's not like it's just cinching straight into the dog's neck. It's actually, like I'm showing when I show, you know, having it on one side or the other of the dog, that's really a lot of what the information needs to be on how to use a slip lead, is which side to put it on. If you have it on your dog properly, with the loop between you and your dog, like if Dante were here on my left side, this is how the slip lead would be on him. With the loop side between him and I, actually as the tension loosens on the rope, it loosens the slip lead just with gravity, but it pulls him slightly to you as it does. So it's not this scary slip knot that's going to strangle your dog to death. It certainly could, okay? But so could anything that could possibly strangle your dog, you know? I mean, a lot of things that get branded as dog toys in pet stores, like rope toys, they very commonly choke dogs to death or block up the dog's digestive system, and the dog dies and you don't even know it before it happens, you know, the reason as to why. So this is what I mean. That's why I referenced the video I made titled Abusing Dogs. That's going to be a theme we discuss a lot under In the Image Clothing Company Poodles, just as time progresses. I'm in this for life. Evan Strong, the founder, to lead In the Image Clothing Company for my entire lifetime. We'll talk about abusing dogs a lot for the sake of context on people call things abuse to dogs, but what does it really mean to let dogs stay natural? Okay? Airplane noise where there is. All right. Good. Whoa. Dante, wait. Good. Dante, come. Good. So anyway, we just need a lot of context, because a lot of what people think is abuse to dogs is stuff that could never even possibly be as harsh to the dog as they just are in nature to each other within their own packs. We just need context on what's going on in life, man. So how to use a slip lead, though, that's something we'll always advocate for under In The Image Clothing Company. Poodles, specifically, as one of our forwards under In The Image Clothing Company, is the use of slip leads. It just has to be used properly. You do have to be careful. You know, you don't want to pull hard on this rope around your dog's neck, but that's the case no matter what you have around the dog's neck. You know, a collar and leash combo, even harnesses around the dog's shoulders, you know, you're still going to pull on the dog if you pull hard, you know, even though the pressure will be displaced more in a harness. We just have to be intentional regardless. We have to remember these are just domesticated animals to begin with anyway. No matter what we do with them, it's going to be unnatural if it's unnatural, you know, just with them living in our societies as human beings under our care and ownership. And really, you know, control is what it is. They're under our control. They can't do anything without us telling them to, in most all cases of domesticated dogs, right? So anyway, there you go. Check us out under In The Image Clothing Company. Dog products and human being clothing, staying centered, fitting correct, allowing the body to work of the human being and the dog, you know. Collars, leashes, harnesses, these things are clothing for the dogs, like I said. So there you go. In The Image Clothing Company. Music is the last fourth to mention that I just haven't in this video. But we just do what we do. We do a lot. We always will do so much under the gift of video. It's a huge part of what we are as In The Image Clothing Company, and always will be. And events, you know, things like Poodle Parade events here in the state of Utah, the United States of America. Bring your poodles, purebred of any size or mixed poodles of any size. We'll get people into nature and dogs into nature. Don't come for us, In The Image Clothing Company's team. Come for the events, the reason we're doing them. Things like Clean the Creek or Rid the Rubbish subcategories of Poodle Parade events, doing things for the environment, advocating for a lot of things with dogs, how to be a good owner and what that really means, debunking a lot of myths and misconceptions on things that just need some understanding, like slip leads in this case. That's one of those big things. People have a lot of problems with slip leads and they just don't really know what they actually are and how to use them. So anyway, there you go. Say bye, Dante. Thank you.